I heard the plastic fork hit the floor before I heard my daughter whisper, "Mom, are they still coming?" That sound, a tiny clatter, cracked something in me. It was a Saturday afternoon in our quiet suburban neighborhood in Colorado. I'd rented the community room at the rec center. Pink balloons framed the doorway. 11 cupcakes sat on a folding table, each with tiny silver sprinkles. My daughter Lily had picked them out herself. She was turning 11, that in-between age when kids pretend they're too old for magic but still hope for it. At 2 p.m., she stood by the window, watching every car that passed. At 2:15, she straightened her dress. At 2:30, she asked me to check the invitations again. Her classmates had RSVP'd. My sister had said she'd bring my niece. My mother promised she'd try to swing by. But 3 o'clock hit. Then 3:30. Then 4 o'clock. No one came. Lily looked up at me and tried to smile. "It's okay, Mom. I still had fun helping you decorate." Her voice was too light. Too brave. I knelt beside her. "Sweetheart, you deserved a full room." She shrugged one shoulder, pretending it didn't matter. Kids do that when their hearts break, they act like they didn't want anything to begin with. And me? I felt humiliation burn under my skin. The kind that starts as a whisper and becomes a scream. I cleaned frosting off untouched plates, pretending not to wipe my eyes. Before we left, Lily looked around the room one last time, as if giving her guests a final chance. But it stayed empty. This story is tough, but if you've ever watched someone you love get hurt, tell me where you're watching from. Just as I turned off the lights, my phone buzzed with a text from my sister. "Hey, sorry, Nia didn't feel like going. Hope the party was cute though." Cute. The word punched me harder than her cancellation. I should have known then, this was the start of something much bigger. And much uglier. My name is Sophia, and in my family, there was an unspoken hierarchy, one I apparently never made it onto. I was the responsible one. The single mom. The "you're doing great, sweetie, but maybe try harder" daughter. My mother, Irene, adored my older sister, Vanessa, the glamorous paralegal, mother of the Instagram perfect Nia. Every holiday, every birthday, every family moment was orbiting around Nia's accomplishments. If Nia got a B+, it was she's brilliant. If Lily got an A, it was, well, Sophie, you have more time than Vanessa. That was the rhythm of our lives. When Lily was born, I'd hoped things would change. But my mother never bonded with her the way she did with Nia. She'd pat Lily's head like she was greeting a neighbor's child. She'd bring gifts for my niece and forgotten gifts for my daughter. I spent years swallowing the resentment, because swallowing was easier than fighting. And because Lily needed family. Or at least I thought she did. But after the failed birthday party, something shifted inside me. A slow, steady click. A lock turning. The next week, while Lily studied at the dining table, I replayed the messages from my family. All the excuses. All the dismissals. It was like watching a montage of betrayal. Then my phone buzzed again. It was my mother. "Mom, hey sweetheart. Don't forget Vanessa's big sweet 16 for Nia next week. It's $2,100 a plate, elegant venue, catered. We expect you both there." Expected. As if we were props they could position where they pleased. I stared at the message, stunned by the irony. They skipped my daughter's party. But expected us at the grand ball for someone else's child? That was the moment resentment stopped whispering. It started speaking clearly. and loudly. Before responding, I looked at Lily. She was coloring quietly, humming. She had no idea her absence at that Sweet 16 wouldn't change a single thing for them. But it would change everything for me. I could have ignored the Sweet 16 invitation. I could have forced myself to go and smile politely. I could have sacrificed another piece of myself for the sake of family peace. Instead, I did something small. Something simple. Something they never expected from me. I sent my mother a short reply. Tell Nia congrats. Lily and I won't be attending this year. No explanation. No apology. Just a quiet, firm boundary. Within minutes, my phone pinged again. Mom, excuse me? What does that mean? Vanessa, are you serious right now, Soph? Mom, we already paid for your seats. You're being selfish. Selfish. The word nearly made me laugh. I typed 3 more sentences, hands steady. I'm prioritizing my daughter. We won't be attending. Please respect that. Then I set the phone down, exhaled deeply, and felt free. Not powerful. Not vengeful. Just free. But freedom, I'd soon learn, comes with consequences. At 7 p.m., my mother called. I didn't answer. At 8 p.m., Vanessa called. I didn't answer. At 8:07, the group chat exploded, paragraphs of guilt, accusations, insults. I muted them all. And that night, for the first time in years, my house felt peaceful. The next morning, I changed the locks to our home. Not out of fear, but out of symbol. My peace, my daughter's peace, needed protection. And then I blocked their numbers. Every one of them. I thought that would be the end of it. But 2 days later, I woke up to a sound that sent electricity down my spine. A firm knock. Then louder. Then a voice. Police. Ma'am, we need to speak with you. I froze. Lily was still asleep down the hall, wrapped in her soft purple blanket. For a split second, I wondered if I'd imagined the knock. Maybe I was still dreaming. Maybe the stress from the texts had gotten under my skin. Then came another sharp rap. Ma'am, this is the Aurora Police Department. We just need to talk. My stomach dropped. Not fear, disbelief. Why would the police be here? I opened the door just a few inches, enough to see 2 officers standing on my porch. One was older, with the tired eyes of someone who'd seen too much. The other looked barely out of the academy. Ma'am, the older one began, are you Sophia Carter? Yes. We received a call earlier this morning. Your mother reported that you've... He looked down at his notes. Cut her off from her granddaughter and may be emotionally endangering the child. I stared at him, speechless. Emotionally endangering? For protecting my daughter? For not attending a Sweet 16? My brain flicked through possible responses but landed on one. You're kidding. The younger officer shifted awkwardly. We're required to check on the child's welfare, ma'am. I wanted to laugh. Or scream. Or both. Instead, I said, she's asleep. And very safe. May we see her? The older one asked gently. I hesitated, not because I feared the truth, but because letting officers into your home carries a weight. It feels like inviting judgment into your living room. But I nodded. She's this way. Lily blinked awake when I touched her shoulder. Sweetheart, some officers need to check on you. You're okay. She sat up, sleepy and confused. But calm. She answered their questions clearly. Her school was good. Her home was safe. Her mom didn't hurt her. Her mom loved her. She felt happy here. The officers exchanged a look, not a concerning one. A relieved one. When we stepped back into the hallway, the older officer said quietly, "Ma'am. I'm sorry. This looks like a family dispute. You're doing nothing wrong." I exhaled slowly, tension melting down my spine. "If anything else happens, document it," he added. "And if they show up here uninvited, call us." As they walked away, their car lights flashed across our driveway, a reminder of how close chaos had come to stepping inside my home. I closed the door, locked it, and leaned my forehead against the wood. My own mother had weaponized the police against me. And that was the moment something inside me stopped trying to heal us. Now, I was going to protect us. If hearing about this moment makes you feel something, good or bad, tap like so this story reaches someone who needs it. The Sweet 16 was scheduled for that Saturday. After the police visit, I expected silence. Maybe shame. Maybe a long overdue apology. Instead, my cousin sent me screenshots from a family group chat I wasn't even part of, a chat dedicated entirely to mocking me. Vanessa wrote, "Sophia's having another meltdown. She blocked us all because she's jealous of Nia." Mom added, "I'm worried she's unstable. If she won't let us see Lily, we might need to intervene legally." Legally. They were escalating this into court-level drama. Another cousin replied, "She should have just come to the Sweet 16. So dramatic." My hands trembled as I read the messages. Not from sadness, from clarity. They didn't care about Lily. They didn't care about her empty birthday party. They cared about their own convenience, appearances, and control. Even worse? They were rewriting the narrative to make me look unhinged, hoping others would buy into it. But the real betrayal came the day of the Sweet 16. Photos started surfacing online. Nia, in a glittering ball gown. Mom, in a silver dress, beaming proudly. Vanessa holding a champagne flute, captioned, "Family is everything." And the comments poured in. "Gorgeous family. So blessed. Goals." I stared at my phone, aware of the cruel irony. Family is everything, except when it came to my daughter's party. Lily peeked over my shoulder. "Wow. Aunt Vanessa looks fancy." "You do too," I murmured, kissing her head. She smiled, but there was a flicker in her eyes. A flicker that said, "Why weren't we invited? Why don't they want us?" I wouldn't let her drown in those questions. That night, when she went to bed, I sat alone in the living room with the lights off, scrolling through the glamorous party photos. At the end of the album, one picture caught my eye. Mom and Vanessa laughing together, champagne in hand, with the caption, "Celebrating with the people who matter." People who matter. Not us. Never us. That was the sentence that ended whatever fragile tie remained between me and that family. And that sentence lit the fuse. The morning after the Sweet 16, I brewed coffee and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Resolve. Not the shaky kind you whisper to yourself in the bathroom mirror. The solid, bone-deep kind that makes your heartbeat steady and your voice calm. A clear voice inside me said. I stopped pleading that day. I stopped asking to be treated fairly. Required turning point line. I opened my laptop. If they wanted legal heat, I'd give them legal clarity. I drafted a statement. All communication must be written, not verbal. All contact attempts must respect my boundaries. Any future false police reports would be documented and addressed formally. Access to Lily was not an entitlement. It was earned through consistent respect, which they had not shown. Then I sent it individually, not in a group thread, so they couldn't twist my words. Vanessa responded first. You're being dramatic. Get over yourself. Mom wrote. This is cruel. I'm your mother. I didn't reply. Because for once, silence was my power. But while I was growing stronger, they were growing louder. I heard from an aunt that Mom was calling relatives, saying I was unstable, dangerous, and isolating Lily. She was building a narrative, one she hoped would trap me. But narratives can be dismantled. Piece by piece. Receipt by receipt. Fact by fact. I began gathering everything. The RSVPs to Lily's party. The texts canceling on her last minute. Screenshots of the chat mocking us. The police report stating no concerns. Dates and timestamps of harassment. It wasn't revenge. It was protection. Because when people show you the weapons they plan to use against you, you don't wait to see if they swing. If you've ever reached a moment where you simply stopped begging for respect, comment below. Your story might help someone else. Everything shifted the following Tuesday, when I received a letter. A physical one. Handwritten, addressed to me, in my mother's looping cursive. My chest tightened as I opened it. Inside was a 2-page attempt at guilt, written like poetry but soaked in entitlement. She wrote things like, you owe us access to Lily. A mother shouldn't shut out her family. We raised you, now you owe us. If you don't lift these childish boundaries, we will have to take action. Take action. I sat very still. They wanted war. They wanted control. They wanted to rewrite the narrative until I was the villain in their story. Fine. Then I'd write my own story, the real one. That's when the idea came to me. Calmly. Logically. Almost coldly. A plan built not on revenge, but accountability. I scheduled a consultation with a family law attorney. Not because I wanted to file anything, but because I wanted my rights clearly defined. I wanted documentation of harassment. I wanted to know exactly where I stood legally so no amount of drama or manipulation could shake me. After hearing the entire situation, the attorney leaned back and said, Sophia, you're doing everything right. You're not restricting a court-ordered relationship. You're protecting your child. They have no legal claim here. What you can do is establish a formal boundary. If they violate it, they face consequences. Consequences. The words settled over me like armor. Before I left, the attorney handed me a folder. Inside were templates for everything I needed. A formal cease and desist for harassment. A no-trespass notice I could file with local police. A communication boundaries agreement. Documentation sheets for every incident. I walked out of that office taller. That night, after Lily went to bed, I placed all the paperwork neatly on the table. They wanted to escalate things? I was ready. But I wasn't going to shout. I wasn't going to insult. I wasn't going to match their chaos. My revenge would be calm. Measured. Administrative. Every narcissistic family's nightmare. Midway through the plan, if this resonates, tap subscribe for more true story narrations like this one. I woke up early the next morning with clarity humming through me like electricity. Not anger, that had burned off already. What remained was purpose. I printed the formal cease and desist drafted from the attorney's template. Every line was measured, factual. Unwanted contact. False police report. Harassment. Emotional manipulation attempts. Boundary violations. No legal right to access a minor without parental consent. No insults. No dramatics. Just consequences. Then I wrote a cover note, brief, controlled, unshakable. This is not a punishment. This is a boundary. You may not contact me or my daughter until you can do so with respect. Any further harassment will be documented and handled legally. I printed 2 copies. One for my mother. One for Vanessa. I placed each in a manila envelope, sealing them like closing the door on years of imbalance. Before dropping them off at the post office, I snapped pictures of everything, proof, time-stamped. On the drive home, Lily was in the back seat humming along to the radio, unaware her mother was quietly restructuring their entire future. "Mom," she asked from behind me. "When can we visit Grandma and Aunt Vanessa again?" My throat tightened. "When being with them feels safe," I said gently. She nodded. She always trusted me. Even when she didn't fully understand. When we got home, I sent a final, neutral text in a group thread. "A formal notice is on the way. I wish you well. I will not be responding further." Then I blocked them again, this time without hesitation. And for a moment, I felt peace. But narcissists don't go quiet when you set boundaries. They go louder. And they were just getting started. It didn't take long. My cousin, the one person still acting like Switzerland, texted me a warning. "Just so you know, your mom is going ballistic in the family group chat." I shouldn't have asked to see screenshots. But I did. The messages were unhinged. "Mom. Sophia is trying to legally block us from Lily. Vanessa. She's unstable. This is emotional abuse. Mom again. I'm thinking of getting a lawyer. We need rights to Lily." Someone else chimed in. "Wait, didn't y'all skip Lily's birthday?" Silence. Then another cousin. "Didn't Sophia host it alone?" Then. "This doesn't look good for you, Irene." Mom tried to pivot. It was a misunderstanding. But by then, seeds of doubt had already spread through the group like wildfire. Just like that, the story they'd been crafting, the one where I was the villain, started cracking. I didn't have to expose them publicly. Their own behavior was doing the work for me. The next blow came the following day. Vanessa posted a glam photo dump from Nia's Sweet 16, the same event they mocked me for missing. But someone in the comments called them out. "Didn't you skip your niece's birthday the week before this?" Another. "Yikes. Optics." Another. "So you didn't show up for the kid turning 11 but want access to her?" Their replies got defensive. Then snappy. Then downright panicked. I hadn't said a word. I hadn't commented. I hadn't shared anything. Truth has a way of escaping even the tightest fists. By nightfall, I received a message from an unknown cousin, one I barely spoke to. "For what it's worth. I'm proud of you. Setting boundaries with family is hard." And weirdly, That one message felt like a warm hand on my shoulder. But the climax, the breaking point, hadn't arrived yet. It came 3 days later. And it came loud. Boundaries only work when people respect them. Mine never did. It was Thursday afternoon. Lily was at school. I was sorting laundry on the couch, humming softly, when a shadow passed across my window. A knock followed. My stomach dropped. Not the firm knock of the police. Not the relaxed knock of a friend. This one was frantic. Impatient. Demanding. I checked the door camera before approaching. It was my mother. Standing on my porch. Hair neat. Expression sharp enough to cut glass. Holding the unopened envelope I'd sent. I didn't open the door. I cracked it just enough for the chain to stay secure. She glared at me. Sophia. What is this nonsense? You received my boundary notice, I said evenly. This is ridiculous. You don't get to cut us off from Lily. I kept my voice calm. Actually, I do. She is my daughter. And you have not treated her with respect. Mom scoffed. This is because no one came to that little party? For God's sake, children's events get cancelled all the time. No, I said quietly. They get cancelled when no one cares. She flinched. Her eyes darted past me into the house, as if expecting to spot something she could accuse me of. When she found nothing, she pointed a finger at me. You think you can embarrass us with this legal garbage? People are talking. You're making us look bad. No, I said. Your actions are. Her mouth snapped shut. For a second, just a second, I saw fear flicker behind her eyes. Fear of losing control. Fear of being exposed. She lifted the envelope. I'm not accepting this. This means nothing. It means everything, I said. And if you step onto my property again without permission, I'll file a trespass notice. You know I have documentation now. Her face reddened. You ungrateful child. I closed the door, calmly, quietly. Her voice rose through the wood. You'll regret this, Sophia. Mark my words. But her threats didn't shake me this time. They sounded small. When she finally left, I slid down the door and breathed out a shaky laugh. Because for the first time in my adult life, I hadn't caved. I hadn't apologized. I hadn't minimized myself. I had stood my ground. But that wasn't the end. The real climax came that evening, when the police came back. At 8:42 p.m., just after Lily fell asleep, I heard the now familiar knock. My heart thumped once, hard, before my brain caught up. I opened the door. Same older officer from before. Same exhausted kindness in his eyes. Ma'am, he said gently, we received another call. I didn't react. I just waited. This time, he continued, your mother reported that you threatened her with legal action and emotional cruelty. She said you were unstable. I inhaled slowly. I see. May I? He asked, motioning inside. I invited him in. We sat at the kitchen table while I handed him copies of everything. The cease and desist. The attorney's advice. Screenshots of harassment. The time-stamped proof that she had showed up uninvited. He skimmed silently, occasionally nodding. Then he set the papers down and sighed. Ms. Carter. I'm going to be honest with you. This is harassment. Not on your end, on theirs. And we're officially marking it as such in our system. My shoulders sagged with relief. Validation is a strange thing, not something you should need from strangers. But after years of being told you're dramatic or too sensitive, having someone in uniform say, "You're not wrong," it hits deep. He continued. If they contact us again with false reports, they will face consequences. And if you want to file a no-trespass notice, we can process that tonight. I closed my eyes. I wasn't crying. But I felt something unstick inside me, the last piece of old loyalty breaking apart. Yes, I said softly. Let's file it. 10 minutes later, it was official. My mother, the woman who raised me, was legally barred from stepping foot onto my property. As the officer left, he paused at the doorway. For what it's worth, he said, you're doing a good job. Some families don't respond well when someone stops playing their game. I nodded. Thank you. When I locked the door behind him, the house felt different. Not empty. Safe. If you've ever had to protect your peace, even when family didn't understand, tap like so this story finds someone who needs courage tonight. When the dust finally settled, what struck me most was the silence. Not the anxious kind. Not the waiting for the next explosion kind. A calm silence. A silence that felt earned. For the first time in years, my phone didn't buzz with passive-aggressive comments, backhanded advice, or last-minute demands. No one pressured me to attend events where I'd be treated like an afterthought. No one criticized how I raised my daughter. No one compared Lily to her cousin or reminded me of my supposed failures. My home felt like a home. Not a battleground. I could cook dinner without bracing for a guilt trip call. I could tuck Lily into bed without feeling like I had to defend my parenting. I could breathe. But it wasn't just peace, things actually began improving. A week after filing the no-trespass notice, I received an unexpected email from Lily's school counselor. Lily seems more confident lately, she wrote. She's speaking up more in class. Her drawings seem happier. I stared at the message, stunned. All this time, I had been worried that protecting her from family chaos would isolate her, but it had freed her. What my mother once called selfish had actually been healing. Sometimes children bloom when the storm finally stops. At home, Lily began doing little things that told me she felt safer. She left her bedroom door open more. She laughed louder. She asked to have friends over, something she never did before. And the highlight? 3 girls from her class came over for a baking night. They giggled loudly, made a mess of sprinkles, and filled our house with exactly what it had been missing. Joy. After they left, Lily hugged me tight. Mommy, thank you for my party. Even if it was just us. I kissed her forehead. It was perfect because you were there. She smiled, a real, unguarded smile. And I realized something in that moment. I had spent so many years trying to fix the family I was born into, that I nearly forgot to build the family right in front of me. Our little 2-person world suddenly felt complete. But that didn't mean the outside world stayed quiet. The fallout for Mom and Vanessa grew louder by the week. My cousin messaged again. Your mom is upset no one takes her side. People found out about the false police reports, it's not looking good. Another relative posted a vague family therapy quote on Facebook about controlling mothers. The irony was delicious. Vanessa, once the golden child, tried to post her usual glamorous updates. But comments kept popping up. Didn't y'all skip your niece's birthday? Why were you calling the police on your sister? This feels messy. Eventually, she turned off comments entirely. I didn't celebrate their embarrassment. I didn't share screenshots. I didn't gloat. I simply watched truth do what truth does. Shine. Over time, the messages from my family dwindled into nothing. No apologies, of course, that would require self-awareness. Just silence. Which was fine. Because I wasn't waiting for closure from them anymore. I had created my own. And with that closure came something I didn't expect. Space. Space to build new traditions. Space to love without fear. Space to become the mother I always wanted to be. One crisp Sunday morning, Lily and I baked cupcakes again, just like we had for her party. She placed one pink sprinkle at a time, humming softly. When she finished, she said, "Mom, can I invite my friends again next month? Just because?" "Of course," I said. And I meant it. There was no bitterness in me anymore. Just relief. Cliffhanger tone, but gentle. And then, a letter arrived. But not from who you'd think. It came on a Wednesday afternoon, a simple white envelope with no return address. Inside was a single handwritten note. Not from my mother. Not from Vanessa. From my aunt, the quiet one, the one who never took sides. It read, "Sophia. I'm sorry. For all of it. For standing by while they treated you and Lily unfairly. For calling it family dynamics when it was cruelty. You did the right thing. Please know you are not alone. I hope one day we can build something better. But for now, protect your peace. You've earned it." I read it twice. Not because I needed validation, not anymore, but because it reminded me of something I had forgotten. Sometimes, when you draw a boundary, the right people stay. I tucked the letter into my kitchen drawer, not as a trophy, but as a reminder that healing doesn't always come from the people who hurt you. Sometimes it comes from those who finally see you. That night, after Lily fell asleep, I stood by her doorway watching her breathe soft, steady, unburdened. And I whispered, "We're okay now." Because we were. We weren't perfect. We weren't a traditional family. But we were ours. And we were safe. And the moral? The one I learned the hard way? Family is not defined by blood. Family is defined by behavior. And protecting your child is never selfish, no matter who disagrees. If someone watching this needs permission to set boundaries, here it is. You are allowed to step away. You are allowed to choose peace. You are allowed to protect the home you're building. And the people who truly love you won't make you feel guilty for doing it. If this story meant something to you, even a little, comment below or subscribe for more stories like this one. You never know who might need this message today.